Hey everyone, this is David Givens, and this is the David World Audio Diaries. So, this is an audio diary about, the different songs I've written and recorded and released so far. And I just want to talk about, the process of just writing and where I was in my headspace. Because I feel that's important. That's an important thing to talk about as an artist, is where you've been and what were doing at the time of making a record. So the first one we're gonna talk about is Crush. And I feel like Crush was really the true first step in the direction I need to go into. And this story, is a very long story because there's many parts to it. There's many parts to the Crush story. And, I had to break it down to different sections. So you're going to get the history, where I was before, where I was during, and where I was after recording, how I wrote the song, and then what it means now as, growing older as an artist. What certain songs mean to you back when you write it. It might mean differently now that you grew a little more, you're a little bit older, you're a little bit wiser. So I'm gonna do things in a kind of structured way, because Crush is like a massive story on its own. So before even writing Crush, I had to go back to 2016. Oh God. So when I first started, I didn't start with Crush, which was not my first single. Crush is like the first official single that I call my first single, but my first single was called Welcome to the Show. And with Welcome to the Show, it was more of like an experiment just to see if I could do it and pull it off. And it didn't do so well because I didn't know what I was doing. It was kind of like I was just putting out a song. I wasn't really like thinking about, okay, what goes into making a song great. I wasn't going into like the marketing side. I wasn't going into, I just wanted to just throw out a song like, okay, that's it. That's all we're doing. And let it ride out. And I still had that old 90s mentality of, well, if someone hears it, they're going to discover me. And I had to learn really quickly that's not how things work. It doesn't work like that. I was in grad school, went to the Savannah College of Art and Design for about a year and a half. I had just lost my sister, Cindy, that year. And I was just dealing with a lot of stuff. And, I think around November of 2016, I had decided to take a break from music. I took a break. I was tired. I didn't have my head on straight. I was just recording music. Just to record music. I wasn't really like recording it mindfully and fully. I was just making the song. I was like, oh, I'm just going to make these bunch of songs, just have a random album. And I think I let my mom hear it. And she was like, this sucks. She literally told me like, this sucks. Like, it's not you. It's not what you're about. It just felt like you just threw some random songs together and this is what it was. And it really like made me upset, because it was like, I did really work hard in it, when honestly, I really didn't. I didn't really work hard in it. I just, sorry, I got ice. I just threw something together because I just wanted it done. I just felt like, after my sister passed, one of her main things, the last thing she told me was, keep on singing and do what you need to do. And I think that really put the kick in the pants, saying, all right, you need to go and focus on, singing and putting out an album, because, that's what she wanted. So I tried to rush one out instead of really sitting down and focusing on what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it. So 2016, I left SCAD. I had no job. I was worried about how to tell my mom I was leaving grad school, because SCAD is not cheap. SCAD's like over $100,000, I think, per year. And I was just like, yo, I'm just really tired. I'm just like, I don't know where to go from here. So 2017 came around. I got a job as a substitute teacher. Was subbing for about 4 or 5 months. I was doing it every day. I was subbing. Whatever job I could take, I was subbing day in and day out. And then I think the principal at the time, he came up to me and was like, yo, I see you. I see what you're doing. We want to hire you full time. And I got hired full time as a teacher. Nowadays I'm a special needs assistant. So I work with special needs kids, which is tiring, but you know what? I've seen the progress of my kids and my students, and I'm very, very pleased by it. And life was getting pretty good for me. I was doing some cool stuff at school, but I felt like, man, this is what my life is going to be now. This is it. This is what's going to be. It's going to be, teaching, and then working until I die. And that was kind of depressing. So again, another fast forward. Fast forward to November of 2017. I think my mom decided we all should go to a movie, and we went to go see The Greatest Showman. And the movie was fantastic. It was a beautiful film. And it was talking about, living your dreams and just being unafraid to go out for what you want, even if the world doesn't, like you, doesn't think you can make it, doesn't think you're worth anything. It really was that turning point where in the car we were discussing the movie, how beautiful it was, and I wasn't really discussing it. I was just like in the back, silent, because I was just like, dang, they're talking about me. They're talking about me. And that night I stayed up. I didn't have work, so I stayed up and I said, well, I want to give this another go. I want to give this another try, and I want to see where this one takes me. But I said, instead of writing what I think people want to hear, I want to write honesty. I want to write truth, and I want to write a story. I don't just want to just make a bunch of random songs that don't connect together, that don't have a meaning behind it. And I formulated this plan, like, okay, I'm gonna make this one album. That one album changed from one album to 2 albums. It was gonna be like a 2-part album. And then from 2 parts to 3 parts, and then from 3 parts to 4 parts. And I said, okay, we're just gonna do 4 parts, and that's it. And then instead of calling all the songs singles, we call them episodes, because it's a story, and all you're doing is you're just adding a new part to the story. That's all you're doing. And so I was like, okay, this first song has to be something that just, pulls people in, that say, hey, I took some time off to figure out where my headspace was. I took some time off to figure out what I want to say. I took some time off so I can figure out my life. And now I'm in a place where I'm in a place where I can talk. I want to tell you my true story, because my story is a story that many people probably have gone through. And my story is a story that people probably have dealt with before or are dealing with it right now. And I just hope that the songs can help somebody else in return. So I wrote this whole vision out. I planned it. I planned how I wanted to do things. Some of the plans now, they've changed, but it's still the same. Just the majority is like the same, setup. It's the majority of the same setup, but some like minor details have changed since then because right now it's not viable. It wasn't viable. I was being very ambitious, and I'm still very ambitious, but now it's like, okay, I need to let's work on one. Let's invest in this one, and then where it goes, I'll build from there. Because I was ambitious, this time around. I was like, oh, I want to do this. I want to drop a single every other month, every month until it's like, okay, I just want to drop a single when it makes my ears have an orgasm, like when it just makes it sound like, just makes me want to cry or makes me want to get up and dance. And I just wanted that in a song. So the next day, went to work, and I was just listening to beats on BeatStars, BeatStars.com. Shout out to BeatStars.com. And I was just listening to random beats, and I was just like, man, nothing really sounded right. Everything was just straight hip hop. I just wanted a pop sound, because I feel like, and I think I feel more like this now than I did back then, because now I'm seeing it more for what it really is. I felt like at the time that as Black artists, the music industry places you in about 3 to 4 categories. 2 of those categories don't get paid as much, or they're not seen as mainstream enough. And that would be, those 4 categories are hip hop, gospel, R&B, and soul. And the reason and they always put Black people in those categories, but you rarely see Black people in the realms of pop and EDM. And I sat down and I really discussed with myself. It's like, okay, because it's 2017, when I was doing all this stuff, who were, the major players in pop at the time? The major players in pop. And so I can say, like, right now we only have 3. But there's 3 that people consider 3. There's 3 top Black men in pop music. But really it's just 2. Because one of those guys, who's Chris Brown, is primarily R&B. He just has pop flavorings every now and again, but you don't really hear him on pop top 40 radio. You hear him more on R&B or adult contemporary or urban, stations or urban settings or something like that. But the only 2 Black men in pop music are Khalid and Jason Derulo. And it occurs to me even now because I'm recording this in 2019, that you don't hear Jason Derulo do anything. He's doing acting more now rather than singing. And Khalid is just like the solo dolo pop, chill pop kind of guy, artist out right now. But you don't have that representation of Black males in pop. Not since, I'm gonna say Usher, where there was like a huge Black pop renaissance. And same thing goes for EDM, where EDM, especially house music, black